Hello. Cool. So my name is Lauren Fairweather, and I have a career that basically terrified my parents when I was a teenager. I'm a touring musician, a full-time YouTuber, and I make handmade art that I sell online. So I always loved expressing myself through music and video and visual art, but the thing that ties together all of those things is writing. Writing, whether I'm coming up with lyrics to go with a melody I've thought up, or scribbling down plans for a video blog I'm planning, I find that writing is really important to everything that I do, and it's a lot of the reason why I can do the things I love full time. While the word writer doesn't necessarily come up high on the list of things I'd use to describe myself, it really is at the basis of all those things I love to do. So even when everyone around me insisted that I choose a more realistic career, I'm able to do what I love all the time. I write music about books. I started doing this when I was 17 years old after I went to a concert from a band called Harry and the Potters. They perform all of their music from the perspective of the boy wizard, and they really inspired me. I got kind of excited when I went to go see them perform because when I was little, I really loved the way that I could pick up a book and just totally be transported into a different world. Whatever I was going through, I could just totally put it aside for a few hours while I sat and took in this story. So it always seemed like a really natural fit for me to write songs about those books that I love so much. I've always related to characters in books, and I find that I gravitate towards certain characters. So there were certain ones that really, kind of stuck out in my head as ones that I wanted to write perspectives from. And the first one that I gravitated towards was Moaning Myrtle. She is the ghost that lives in the bathroom at Hogwarts, and I don't know, maybe it was because I was sad, but also because she's really funny, and I thought I could write some funny songs from her perspective. So I teamed up with my best friend at the time, and we wrote this song. This is the first song I've ever written. It's from Moaning Myrtle's perspective, and it's about the moment she died. I hope you like it. School, I got new glasses and I thought they were cool. Olive Hornby passed by, I said, don't I look fly? She said, no, ugly Myrtle, you look more like a fool. I went to the bathroom on the second floor. What was Olive thinking now? This is war. So I started to bawl and ran into a stall, and I heard a boy talking just outside of the door. Where I am today. Get out of my bed, then you're really creepy. You're not a girl and you don't belong here. I don't understand you. Stop speaking in songs, saw a pair of yellow eyes, and I died. I've been the bathroom ghost since the night I fell. It's not so bad if you ignore the smell. I was sorry to go, but there's one thing I know. Olive Hornby is burning in. Out of my bathroom, you're really creepy. You're not a girl and you don't belong here. I don't understand you. Stop speaking in songs, saw a pair of yellow eyes. Now I'm Moaning Myrtle and I live in a toilet. Olive Hornby got what was coming to her. As you know, nothing's been the same ever since the day I you so much. So the fact that I write from other characters' perspectives more often than I write from my own is a way that I tell my story and explain who I am in a pretty uncommon way. I pretty rarely just keep my writing as words on a page. I like to transform the way that I present my writing, so in songs or recited in a video blog, things like that. But I started to figure out that I could express my own feelings and thoughts through the guise of a familiar literary character. Writing music about books stopped being about hiding my own personality behind someone else's, and it started being about this way of reaching other fans of stories who gravitate towards the same characters. When I personally read books, the stories and characters that I really relate to are the ones that stick with me the longest, the ones that make the biggest impact on me. So often I felt like nobody could understand the things that I was going through. Like the people around me would laugh if they knew how sad I was, or like I had to screen my thoughts before I said them out loud or else somebody would make fun of me. I felt like I was totally alone, even when I was surrounded by a huge group of people. But when I started performing, and I started performing more personal music about these parts of the books that really meant something to me, people started reaching out. They'd been there too, and they felt the same way when they read that part of the story, as if it had been written just for them. So when I read Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows and learned about Severus Snape's backstory, I saw glimpses of myself in his childhood memories. I resonated with the way that he grew up with a not-so-great family situation and how going away to school gave him an escape from all of that. So then I wrote this next song, which is a good example of how you can write a song from someone else's perspective, but it's really just about you. The song is called Gone. How are things at your house? She said. I guess she believed me when I said fine. Of course, they're still arguing, and I doubt it'll ever stop. So why should I stick around? I've tried, but it just gets worse. But it won't be that long now till I'll be gone. I can almost count the hours. I can almost count the hours till I get on that train and go far away. Does it make any difference? She asked. Just because I'm a girl born, I thought, and the truth is that I know I'd gladly trade my lot, and so I took a breath and I said no, it doesn't make any difference, and it won't be that long now, so we'll be gone. I can almost count the hours. I can almost count the hours till we get on that train and go far away. Thank you, guys. So when I started writing out music in my bedroom, I immediately figured out how to share it with the world. I went online and I researched how to record music on a high schooler's budget, and I uploaded it to my social media profiles. And when YouTube launched, I started a channel there and filmed myself performing the songs. I think I'd originally had it in my head that I needed to be discovered by some record executive who would, see me and want to make all my dreams come true. But I figured out right away that the internet provided all of the knowledge and technology that I needed to do that myself. I didn't have to just wait around for someone else to say you're good enough. I can, kind of cut out that middleman and just reach people who wanted to hear what I was doing. When I was looking for colleges, I had already started receiving invitations to travel all over the place to perform my original music. All my parents really knew at the time was that I would just sit up in my room with my computer and play the same parts of the same songs over and over again until I had gotten them down perfectly and decided exactly how I wanted the line to sound. And so when I told them that I wanted to drive all over the country and play shows for these people I'd never met, I think they got pretty nervous. Honestly, I don't think they realized that thousands of people were actually listening to the songs I was playing up there. My experience has been that pursuing a creative field like this and choosing to stay self-employed can be a really tough endeavor, but absolutely worth all of the work it takes. For a long time, everyone around me told me that you couldn't make a living making music, or YouTube videos for that matter. That didn't even really exist when I started. So they said that so many people try to be a professional musician, and nearly all of them fail. I think that's the case with any sort of creative field for some reason. People get it in their heads that it's just not a doable thing. I think they expected me to do something more practical, but I didn't. I graduated from college with a degree in psychology, which was my backup plan. And as soon as I graduated, I started touring full-time with a bunch of my friends. So know that it's totally possible to make money with a career like this, but you have to work really, really hard all the time, even though you won't have a paycheck coming in every week. So I thought I'd share with you two of the things that I learned about writing creatively over the years. The first tip I have for you guys is to practice writing with the goal of finding your voice. When I write something, one of my biggest goals for it is for it to sound like something I would say if I were just talking to someone casually. It's like I'm infusing my personality into the words. I think that this is especially important today, whether you're a writer or not, because so much of who you are is defined by your social media posts, like a little blurb of text that people gather who you are from that. Unless they know you outside of those posts, they're going to picture who you are based on your writing. I want my friends and family to be able to hear my voice in their heads when they're reading my Twitter posts and things like that. The same actually goes for my video blogs and songs, even though I'm reciting them out loud, because I've written them ahead of time, but it can sound a lot less genuine if I don't put my personality into it. And another thing that I've learned, and I still struggle with, is to find a balance between achieving perfection in my writing and also knowing when to just let myself finish something. Once I get a full draft of a song written, I could probably go back hundreds of times just revising it and changing the melody and fixing words I don't like as much until I am just totally happy with it. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. It sometimes makes it really difficult for me to write anything at all or just to actually finish something I've been working on for a long time. So there are times when I've kept giving up on a song and I'll pick it up a few weeks later. And that can result in taking years to finish a song or sometimes not finishing it at all. And that's a problem because it usually means that I just don't write anymore. I feel like you can always make a bad piece of writing better or at least learn from the experience of writing something. So I think it's really important to learn to let yourself write something bad. I know that seems kind of funny, but if you're afraid to fail at something, chances are you probably won't succeed either. So a few years ago, I was on tour with my friend Lena, and we wrote this really silly, quick, random song in the parking lot of a Guitar Center. We were in our car, and it was full of inside jokes and just references that nobody would understand, and we had just started figuring out how to play the ukulele. It's a little similar to guitar, but not quite the same. So after like 15 minutes, we thought, we have to put this on the internet. That's a great idea, and it went totally viral. It has more than 5 times as many views as any other video I've made since then, or anything I'd made up to that point. So that is a really good example of how you don't have to spend forever working on a piece of writing in order to make an impact or to create something that people would enjoy. I'd say try to find something in between working on a song forever and never ever finishing it, and like writing something immediately and never ever touching it again. I think you need a happy medium there. It's difficult. It's a tough thing to do. But I'm going to play that song for you, that little 15-minute song that makes no sense. I hope you guys like it. It's called Guacamole Ukulele Song. We wanted to go to Tennessee, but ended up in Arkansas, and you wouldn't believe what we saw. We saw 3 dead armadillos, but Wompy didn't steal our pillows, and there were 2 kittens under a car. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. We went to a guitar center, purchase. Now we feel pretty ridiculous, and it's making Lena laugh just how much we sound like trash, except we're short and they are really tall. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. When we were starting to regret it, Alex told us not to sweat it. Ukuleles pay for themselves. Now we're sitting in the car just thinking about how cool we are. We bought the last 2 that were on their shelves. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. We got some Ruby Tuesday guacamole, then we bought 2 ukuleles, guacamole, ukulele song. So one of my favorite things about getting to do what I do is that I meet a lot of really creative and brilliant and weird people because of it. When people find my content online or at a performance, they say hi, and occasionally I'll get invited to perform at a conference or a concert or something like this, just all sorts of things. And so I get to travel all over the place, and I get to meet other people who also spend their time creating and sharing things with the world. So you'd think that writing would be a pretty lonely career if it's just you and your laptop all the time, and it can be, but for me, it's really brought me out of my shell. I'm pretty regularly dropped into situations where I just don't know anyone. Like yesterday, I was home in Rhode Island, and this morning, I'm here talking to you guys. Is it afternoon now? Whew, I have no concept of time in here. But when I put myself out there and I allow people to experience the things I create, it gives other people the opportunity to connect with me, and I love that part of it. It's really fun. And sometimes those people I meet just, skyrocket to unbelievable amounts of fame, and it's kind of funny to me because I knew what they were like before. And so have you guys read or seen The Fault in Our Stars? Yeah? So it's this book written by this super nerd John Green that was made into a movie last year. It did really well. So exciting. But 7 years ago, that guy had written 2 pretty great books. He wasn't as well known, and he had started making YouTube videos with his brother Hank. And I'd started making YouTube videos on this collaborative channel called 5 Awesome Girls with 4 of my other best friends, and we sort of loosely based it off of their channel. So they ended up finding it, and they actually loved it and reached out to us, and we've been friends ever since, which is kind of cool how that happens. So when John found out that I also write music inspired by books, he was so excited that I decided to write some music about his books. So let me tell you, performing a song for the author of the book that inspired your song is really cool, but also very, very scary. I was worried that the picture in my head of his story and his characters wasn't quite what he pictured when he was writing the book, or that I didn't adequately capture it in my song. But thankfully, John is way too nice to tell me if he was disappointed in any of the songs I've written about his books, so I am very thankful for that. And then our friend Esther Earle passed away due to complications from thyroid cancer at the age of 16 back in 2010, and a grieving John Green wrote the beautiful book that is The Fault in Our Stars. The character of Hazel in that story is not Esther, but John has said that he couldn't have written the book without knowing her. So when that book came out, I knew that I had to write a song about it, and that was by far the most difficult piece of writing I have ever had to do. I just felt this immense amount of pressure to not only do the book justice, but also to capture Esther's influence on the story. It took me 2 years to write this, and it's called Math. We were great star-crossed lovers. I'd tell you about it if I could, but I won't tell you our story. It will die with us as it should. If I tried, I'd disappear into a puddle of tears. So I will talk about math instead. Oh, I'm not a mathematician, whoa, but I do know that there are infinite numbers between 1 and 0, and I am so very grateful. Oh, that okay is our always, 'cause you gave me a forever within the numbered days. You were a welcome addition, so I'm thankful that 1 + 1 is 2, 'cause you're 1 in a million, and I don't want to see a world without you. There are days when I resent the small size of our set, because I want more numbers than we're likely to get. Oh, I'm not a mathematician, whoa, but I do know that there are infinite numbers between 1 and 0, and I am so very grateful. Oh, that okay is our always, 'cause you gave me a forever within the numbered days. There's no place I'd rather be than in our little infinity, but the world is not a wish-granting factory. I'm not a mathematician, whoa, but I do know that there are infinite numbers between 1 and 0, and I am so very grateful. Oh, that okay is our always, 'cause you gave me a forever within the numbered days. Oh, I'm not a mathematician, whoa, but I do know that there are infinite numbers between 1 and 0, and I am so very grateful. Oh, that okay is our always, 'cause you gave me a forever within the numbered days. When John heard that song, he told me that it made him feel what he'd hoped readers would feel when they read the book, which made me very, very happy. I'm going to tie this up with a song that I wrote about how books can become more than just books. Whenever I go back and reread a story that I've loved since I was little, it can bring me back and spark memories, and for certain ones, it even feels like coming home. I wrote this one about Harry Potter specifically because it's been almost 8 years since the last book came out, and it's still such a huge part of my life. This song is called Home. Can't believe they're done in 2007, so far gone. Oh, it's all they're scared cause the books aren't going anywhere. J.K. Rowling once said that Hogwarts will always be there to welcome you home. Just like magic, it seems these books can make you feel like you're never alone. You become a part of me and I take you wherever I go. Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. And time it passes by, but no matter how far I roam, Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Now my bags are packed. Better watch out, cause I'm coming back to a place I know, and there's nowhere else I'd rather go. Oh, there are places out there where people get you, people understand that it's not just a book, it's your childhood, and it's music, so join the band. You become a part of me, and I take you wherever I go. Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. In time it passes by, but no matter how far I roam, Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I'm coming home. It feels like home. It feels like home. This feels like home. You become a part of me, and I take you wherever I go. Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. In time it passes by, but no matter how far I roam, Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Harry, I'm coming home. Harry, I'm coming home. I'm coming home. Thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun talking to you guys and playing some music for you. If you are at all interested in checking out my music, it is all on iTunes. Just search Lauren Fairweather and it'll come up. And I also have a YouTube channel called Lauren Fairweather. You can just search YouTube for Lauren Fairweather and you'll find all kinds of cool stuff. I don't just do music videos on there. I do video blogs and travel videos of my shows, and yeah, it's really fun. So do you guys have any questions? My favorite viral video? Oh man. That's a hard one. Oh, I was just watching this the other day. It's funny, I am very involved in YouTube, in the YouTube community. I go to VidCon every year. I know a lot of YouTubers, and all the videos that pop up in my head are like tiny ones that I love so much. I guess one of the bigger ones, this is a recent one. This was like last week. Do you guys know Auto-Tune the News? They auto-tuned the news, basically, but they auto-tuned a Hank and John Green video. They were fighting about Batman. John does not like Batman, and Hank loves Batman, and so they turned it into a song, and it's just like this song with them arguing, and they're just entire verses of them just going, Hank, John, and it's like really ridiculous. I highly recommend it. It's called We Are All Bat People. It's really good. It's been stuck in my head all week.
All right, so I'm going to walk around with a microphone. If you have a question, raise your hand, and you will see me chug over to you. I do not like to run. This is the thing. No?
I can
No
talk
takers
about
yet?
YouTube or music or songwriting.
What's the hardest part about designing your plushies?
My plushies! Oh yeah, someone knows about them. Hello. I make these little stuffed plush toys, and I make a lot of videos about, like, I show people how to make them and things like that, and I sell them on Etsy, and they're just like little animals. A lot of them are inspired by the Harry Potter books, just like everything else I do. But the hardest part, they're really hard to design because when you draw a picture of what you want something to look like, and then you trace that on fabric and then stuff it, it stretches in weird ways, so it never comes out looking the way I'm expecting it to. And so I kind of have to do it over and over and over again until I can kind of see, oh, this one, his head's way too big, let's make the head smaller. It's hard picturing three-dimensional things in a two-dimensional space. But they come out looking really cute. I like making stuff.
Where? Wait for me.
What college did you go to?
I went to a college called Elizabethtown in Pennsylvania. It is not the Elizabethtown that the movie was made after. That one's in Kentucky. It was just this tiny little liberal arts school. There were like less people there than in my high school. And it was just like this really small little school in the middle of nowhere. And by the point that I got into college, I was already doing all this stuff, so I was just kind of known as Harry Potter girl around campus, and people were weird about it. But it was, it's like I went for the liberal arts, tiny school over the big ones.
Question?
Earlier, you said you have met a lot of people through this. What's the most interesting person you've met?
I mean, what would be most interesting to you, I guess, I met the girl who plays Luna Lovegood in the Harry Potter movies. I played at a lot of Harry Potter-related events, a lot of conferences and things like that, and she goes to a lot of them and, signs autographs, and so I've met her a bunch of times. She's especially interesting because she's very similar to Luna, but at the same time, she is, a lot more chill and normal, and I don't know. She's really great. She's this huge Harry Potter fan, and she knows more about the books than anyone I've ever met. She can do ridiculous trivia on very specific details that no one ever remembers. So she's really cool. Her name's Ivana Lynch.
Which brother do you like more, John or Hank?
Oh no! It's like asking me to choose between children. I don't know. I will feel bad if one of them finds out that I said I liked the other one better. I don't know. I met John first, and so I've known him longer. But Hank does a lot more stuff that's similar to me. He performs music. He writes songs about Harry Potter too. I probably am more similar to Hank. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. They're my friends, but they're great. They're really cool.
What would you say your favorite band is?
My favorite band is probably Ben Folds. I like him a lot. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's great. He plays piano and he does weird stuff. He plays with his elbow, and he's just really fun. He does like punk rock for sissies, I think is what he called it in the 90s. He's really fun.
Micah?
Have you ever seen a Harry Potter musical?
Yes, I met those people. Yeah, they play at the conferences that I perform at too. They're really, really fun. They did a Harry Potter senior year live at one of the conferences I played at. They're really, really fun. I knew Darren Criss before he was Darren Criss. He doesn't know who I am, though. He never remembers me. It's cool, though.
So what would your favorite book character be?
My favorite book?
Character.
Oh, character. Favorite book character. It's funny, because every time anybody asks me questions about books, I automatically think of Harry Potter, but probably Luna Lovegood. She's this so weird, so different from everybody around her, and everyone thinks she's just so strange, and she doesn't care at all. She is just 100% herself. She doesn't hide it. People steal her stuff, and she's just like, oh, I guess I'll go find it. And it's just like, that's just amazing to me that somebody, can be so oblivious to what, or just choose to ignore the mean things that somebody says about her, because I struggle with that a lot.
You traveled around all over, and you did a rather unconventional sort of career path, whatever, but despite the fact that your parents told you maybe you should do something else, did anything really bad happen in all of your touring or playing in people's living rooms with people you never knew or anything like that?
The worst it's ever gotten is like I feel kind of creeped out. Like I'm in a situation where I don't quite want to be there. It's like somebody gets a little too close to me, and I kind of, But the good news is that I don't go alone. This is one of the few trips I've done recently where I just didn't bring anybody with me. And most of the time I have friends with me. I have friends who are also performing and things like that. And that makes it a little bit easier because usually they'll see like somebody's getting too close to Lauren and they need like, they'll go, oh, hey, could you help me with this? And then I can get an out. The good news is I perform a lot at libraries and schools and places like where it's kind of generally assumed that it's a safe place and people look out for each other. I have played at some rock clubs where that's not always the case, but I like the libraries. They're really fun to play at. So it turned out okay. I think my parents didn't have anything to worry about.
So are you saying that I'm the creepiest person you've met here today?
No, you're wonderful.
All right, I'm joking.
What made you show up here at Libertyville than any other school? Was there any reason, or?
You guys asked me. I was invited. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I probably would play at more high schools. I haven't done very many. This is actually the first time somebody wanted to hear me speak. Usually I'm just asked to perform. So this is, I mean, the fact that you guys have this is really cool. I would have loved this when I was in high school, and I've been enjoying it all day, just getting to hear all the student writing, and just like, this is a very, very cool thing, and you guys are really lucky to have it, and lucky to have teachers who will work so hard to make it happen.
All right, got a couple questions on this side.
Okay, so knowing you're a Harry Potter girl, I'm looking at Fairweather and I'm thinking Lovegood, Weasley, knowing J.K. Rowling. Is that really your last name, or is that classic English compound?
You're the second person today who's asked me that, and yes, it is my last name. However, I do have a funny story about that. J.K. Rowling's first book after Harry Potter, The Casual Vacancy, when it first came out and there was a blurb about the book, the main character's last name was Fairweather. And everyone I knew was like, wait a second, is there somewhere in her brain that registered like the fact that I do this and that I'm always hanging out at Harry Potter things? And like somewhere she saw my name, whether it was because she heard my music or just heard my name in passing, and she put that aside as like, that's a cool name for a character. But then she changed it to Fairbrother. What? In the book, it wasn't Fairweather. So that was a big bummer for me.
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Are you a fellow nerd fighter?
Yes, of course
And
I am.
what's your favorite inside joke from the Ball Brothers?
Okay, so so John and Hank Green, they're kind of following and the community that formed around their videos and John's books. We call ourselves nerd fighters. Not people who fight nerds, but nerds who fight to decrease world suck and make the world a more awesome place. I'm very happy to have some nerd fighters in the audience. Woohoo! I don't know. I was big on like the early ones, like the puppy-sized elephants. I regularly think, why aren't there puppy-sized elephants? I would want one so badly. There are a lot of weird little inside jokes that have come up over the years, and that was one of them. Like, I think somebody asked him, would you rather have an elephant-sized puppy or a puppy-sized elephant? And John said a puppy-sized elephant for sure.
We have time for a few more questions. Here we go.
Pass it back.
What do you consider like the nerdiest thing you've ever done?
There are a lot of things that I would put on that list. Probably waiting online for over an hour to take a photo with platform 9 3/4 at King's Cross Station in London. I was with my husband, and he was like, it's just a sign with half a cart sticking out of a wall. Why do we have to wait for over an hour? And I was just like, you don't know how long I've waited to do this. It felt really silly, but it was like, it just meant a lot to me metaphorically. It was like everything had come full circle, that I, started reading these books and desperately wanted a Hogwarts letter to come in the mail for me. And then one day somebody said, hey, I would love for you to perform in London, England, perform your Harry Potter music for a bunch of fans. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to King's Cross. It's happening.
Another one? Here we go.
Hi. What was the practical route your parents wanted you to do, and do they look at what you're doing today and they're like, you should be doing something practical, or are they more okay with it now?
Could you repeat that? Sorry. I
Oh,
can't.
what was the more practical route your parents wanted you to do, and do they look at what you're doing today and they're like, you should still be doing a practical thing, not whatever you're doing, or are they more okay with it now?
I don't think they really cared what it was. My dad's a dentist. I think he kind of wanted me to, be a doctor. They always, whenever they were like, don't you want to make money? Shouldn't you just be a doctor? And I don't know, that was always the thing that they were like, wouldn't this be great? You could buy so many things. And it's like, well, I also would have no free time. And also I'm terrified of hurting anybody, even for good, or for good reason. So I did psychology because I was interested in people and in brains and things like that. And I don't regret learning about it. It was interesting to learn about, but I found out really fast I do not have the emotional stability to be a psychologist. But they're fine with it now. They're cool with it.
Thank you, Lauren.